Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel, World of Wrestling. Here today, I think I'm coming in a little awkward here. Let me reiterate the introduction. Welcome to the channel. Here today to discuss about Random Wrestling Talk, episode number 10. We're going to reflect a little bit on Scott Hall's career as Razor Ramon and Scott Hall from WCW. If you guys want to comment or leave any impressions that you had of Scott Hall from the WWF days as Razor Ramon or as Scott Hall in WCW, please go ahead, state whatever you'd like to say on in the chat. I'll be more than happy to go over that with you guys. Also, something else I need to get out of the way here. All right. Anyway, hey Black Hats, nice to hear from you again. Did you get my messages today? From what video? I did respond back some of the messages you gave me. I saw that you commented, I believe, on it was the All In episode that I did, the pay-per-view of the week, episode 3. I did comment, I believe I commented you on that. But yeah, I did get those messages. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take a look here on my YouTube app on my phone real quick. Give me one moment. Okay, yeah, All In. I did see that video, or those comments. Oh, you stated 2 other comments from 2 hours and 7 hours ago. Let me read it. I didn't get the notification. I'm sorry, Black Hats. Black Hats stated in the video that also Chavo said that AEW doesn't have much management than WWE does. Sounds like AEW is in trouble. I disagree. I don't think they're in trouble. He doesn't micromanage everything. He really makes things, I was actually going ahead and listening to a podcast with Kurt Angle off of my Amazon Music app, and Jericho and Kurt Angle were talking about the experience Jericho has been having with AEW. He states that everybody within the company, it's their company. They actually help out with, giving us the actual storylines we see on television. And he goes over that. He talks about how, Tony Khan is the person to have the last word and everything. But at the end of the day, he allows everyone to share their ideas. And then at the end of the whole decision making, he decides whether or not he feels is best for them to use it, since he's the one going ahead. Sorry about that. That was my notification computer. He just goes ahead and he makes the final decision on what he thinks would be the best thing, since he's the one who invested in the company. It makes a lot of sense. If I was in anyone else's position as a performer within his company, he told me, hey, I don't know if this is a good idea for us to actually have on the show, I would have to agree with him and go what he thinks is best. I mean, he's the one investing the money. So to me, that makes a lot of sense. He also mentioned, and I'll get into that a little later, actually, about Chris Jericho and Kurt Angle. I wanted to bring that up because I had a lot of fun listening to this. This was about an hour and 25 minutes. I was listening to this while I was doing my work at home today, and it was very interesting hearing all of the stuff that happened behind the scenes, even back in the old days with Kurt Angle and Jericho coming up within the WWF and their experience of dealing with Vince McMahon and so forth. So it was very enlightening to see how Vince McMahon was and how he interacted with everybody. So it was very odd also at the same time, but I'll get into that in just a little bit. Rachel Buck actually was asking me, oh yeah, let me just go into Black Hats' other comment. Give me 1 second. Black Hat states that that I hate to break it to you that Tony isn't rich. Vince might own AEW soon if TK doesn't get serious about the competition. Um, I actually disagree with you. I've looked up about Tony Khan's invest his money, and he's got a lot of money, more than what Vince McMahon has. Vince McMahon's just catching up to him because of all the investments. So Black Hats, I don't know where you got the information from, but yeah, Tony Khan is invested all his money into this. He has got to have a lot of money in the first place because where the hell is he signing all these fucking talents from? And don't tell me his dad's giving him the money, because if his dad was giving him the money, how would his dad be able to invest in the Jacksonville Jaguars? Well, then again, you might be able to debate that with me. Look at the Jaguars; they fucking suck. So I guess you could you have some kind of ability to debate that with me, but still, at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the fact that Tony Khan is doing this completely on his own, and that's it. Because I don't know where you got the information from, Black Hats, and no offense, I think you're a swell dude. It's just that I disagree with you on that subject. But it is what it is. Um, so it's going to be whatever it's going to be. Just to react to your comment here, you said that I know why Cody left for WWE is because AEW is getting annoyed by his friends. And I have a feeling that Cody might make it to WrestleMania 38. Well, Black Hats is actually one of the stories that I'm going to talk about here today on the channel, plus also the commentary that took place between Jericho and Kurt Angle about Vince McMahon, because it was very enlightening to hear how Vince McMahon was even back then when he was younger, and his creative decision making and everything that he did. So I'm going to go into that too. Big On, haven't heard from you in a while. You said you just made it in. Nice to hear from you, man. And he says, rest in peace, Scott Hall died yesterday. NWO for life. Totally agree, man. NWO for life, man. Black Hats going I'm going all over the place here. I'm going to lose track of what the structure of my fucking show is going to be like because I'm going all over the place. That's what you call random wrestling talk, I guess. Black Hats says, competition matters for TK. Sooner or later, it might end up like WCW 2.0. But the fact is that WWE is getting destroyed hard. Black Hats, I disagree with you about the WCW 2.0. They are doing what WCW should have done. WCW had a class of great performers that went over the WWE brand, and they excelled later on in their career. And the only reason why, and I'll explain why, because Jericho explains it in the podcast with Kurt Angle, he literally the WCW literally fucked up. They went ahead and they're doing the same thing that WWE is doing right now. WWE has no major competition yet. I mean, AEW, I'm going to admit, Vince McMahon might be right. You know, they're not in the same field yet with WWE. And I think that has a lot to do with the inconsistency of their ratings. I think the ratings, they go up and down a little too much. When they start beating SmackDown and Raw in the overall ratings with everyone in the bunch, like if they go ahead and they're like destroying fucking beating Raw and SmackDown in the ratings, and they're at least getting 2 million views per week, then at that point, we're going to have to say that AEW is the top dog of everything. At this point, unfortunately, me being even an AEW Mark fan, I have to admit WWE is the top dog still, despite the fact of how terrible their shows are. And despite the fact of how careless this guy Vince McMahon is with his talent, the way he uses them and everything. I even listen to Keith Lee's commentary about the whole situation with him and Vince McMahon as well. It was very interesting to listen to that. He found it very confusing, and he feels that Vince McMahon makes WWE too complicated and very hard to deal with and very confusing. But let me go into some of the other comments, and I'll come back to you, Blackheads, because you got a lot to say here tonight. I appreciate the comments. But let me go into some of the other comments that I haven't read yet on the channel, on this live stream. Let's see here. Let me go back to Ray. Well, it's actually produced by Alter Bridge. This is another song by Alter Bridge called The Other Side. I didn't really get much of a feel from the song like I do from the original song that he used from Alter Bridge. But I guess it makes sense to utilize this other song since this gimmick is slightly changed. He's kind of evolved his character. He feels a lot more like an Undertaker type mentality, only he's not playing a dead person. He's just playing some possessed human being who's just out of his fucking gourd and has just lost his mind. But then again, he's always played these kind of roles before, back in 2008 when he had the Undertaker right up his ass trying to get the world championship, also trying to, destroy his relationship with him and Vicky Guerrero and all kinds of other stuff that was taking place. He started going into that type of mentality. He was doing all kinds of outrageous things. He would even make Vicky Guerrero go crazy. He also was threatening to kill her practically in one scene back in 2008. Absolutely fucking brilliant stuff. When Edge taps into that crazy side of himself, man, is he intense. He is fucking sometimes intimidating. Based on the way his eyes are. His eyes are the most unbelievable. I swear to you, a lot of times when I looked at his eyes, I thought he was on some kind of drug. Literally. I thought his pupils were too fucking dilated or like shrunk or some shit. Because I swear to you guys, the guy acts bizarre. When he taps into that crazy side that he has for his character, it's just like, what the fuck just happened? But last night, I did watch the entire episode of Raw. I went ahead and I watched fucking All In for 4 hours from 7 to 11. And then after I finished doing the review, I went ahead and I went ahead and went to USA Network and watched the entire episode of Raw last night because I was able to skip through commercials. And I skipped through some of the other bullshit I didn't care about even watching. I'm going to give you guys that review on Thursday night. I got to give myself a break. This is actually going to be, I'm going to have a break from this next week. Episode number 11 is not going to be uploaded. We're not going to do a live stream next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, I will definitely be doing that. I believe next Tuesday, give me 1 second. I want to see something here. Trying back on the air doing episode number 11. With that being the case, guys, we'll be doing just basically an overall preview and predictions video here on the channel. I'm not going to go over much of wrestling news and rumors going on. I don't do too much of that anyway. We mostly do the talking here and just talk about random stuff that's going on in the modern day world of wrestling. But yeah, the 29th is episode number 11. We'll go ahead and discuss the preview and prediction video of the Raw of the WrestleMania night 1 and night 2 and see what happens from there. So anyway, yeah, that was just something Rachel Buck had to say. I thought his music choice for his new theme song was okay. I didn't mind it. Matt says, Matt87 Eagle says, hey, yo, Chico, review WrestleMania 10 next week in honor of the coolest bad guy to lace up a pair of boots. I'm actually ahead on you on that, Matt87 Eagle. I was planning on doing that anyway, so that is a guarantee. I am doing that next Monday. I already mentioned about Big On and his comment. Appreciate the respect towards Scott Hall there. Big On, I appreciate it. Let's see here. Matt 87 Eagle also stated AEW doesn't need to care about the competition. I think they should, in the fact of challenging themselves to get a higher rating than Raw and SmackDown. Just for that reason alone, as pure competition, no, neither one of these companies are really in competition with each other at all. I really don't see them as competition to one another whatsoever because of the way they do business. I mean, one does one thing one way and another company does another thing another way. And one company doesn't even acknowledge themselves as a fucking wrestling promotion. So who the hell cares? They don't even do sports entertainment anymore. So who gives a fuck about WWE? I just do it because I get good ratings. I mean, I just got a couple of subscribers today. I think it had a lot to do with the SmackDown review or the All In review I did just recently yesterday. But yeah, I mean, there's people that really like my commentary on WWE, so I'm going to continue to do it as much as I can do it. I mean, as long as I don't burn out from watching this shit, because I truly don't care for this company. I think they're absolute trash. So anyway, well, there's a lot of comments from you guys. I'm having a hard time keeping up. Damn. All right. So Daniel says, hey, yo, everyone. I'm going to miss Scott Hall. Same here, Daniel. He was a really great character, especially the Razor Ramon character. Probably one of the best gimmicks from the new generation from the 1990s I've ever seen outside of Shawn Michaels' gimmick. So Black Hats actually states, also rest in peace to the founding fathers of the NWO and TNA Impact, Scott, the bad guy Hall. Rachel Buck says, do you think AJ Styles, when he returns to Monday Night Raw, he will have a new haircut? God, I hope not. They better not change a damn thing about AJ Styles. There's nothing wrong with him. Just get him in the right situation with the right storylines and the right competition. This almost thing fucking ruined him. Speaking of almost, he actually had competition with Commander Aziz, which was fucking ridiculous. I didn't even care for that match whatsoever. I didn't even pay attention to it. I think I skipped right through it. I don't even remember if I skipped it or not. Who gives a shit? Black Hat says, what WWE needs to get rid of is the draft and take away 1 hour to 2 hours on Raw. I agree. I think Raw should be 2 hours. That's it. Shouldn't be any more than that. Should be like from 9 to 11 or 8 to 10, somewhere around that range. But they need to get rid of the 3-hour Raw episodes. They fucking suck. It's bad enough the show sucks. They could really condense it. It'll make it a little bit more easier to deal with. I mean, SmackDown's easier to deal with, but sometimes they even are god-awful and terrible. Daniel says the problem with WWE is that even with the bad booking, they have so many great talent, yet they only capitalize on Lesnar, Reigns, Becky, and Charlotte, where in AEW everyone has a chance. Yeah, I agree with you. And Jericho, with his commentary with Kurt Angle on a podcast, explains that. Black Hats states that I like AEW, but it needs to lay off the social media about upcoming wrestlers appearing to the company and stop pushing the little guys like Adam Cole and Paige, etc. All right. Some of that I agree with you, Black Hat. Some of it I disagree with you. Adam Cole, I'm so tired, and no offense to you, man. You have your opinion. I respect that. But I am so tired of hearing people say that Adam Cole is a midget. Let's move on with him, blah, blah, blah. I have to say this. Adam Cole, despite of his height, he has an amazing charismatic character. He's very cocky, reminds me a lot of Shawn Michaels. And you know what? If anyone's going to shit on Adam Cole, I didn't hear anyone ever saying Shawn Michaels should have never made it to the main event scene and be a world champion. If anything, people praised him for even just being in WrestleManias. They called him Mr. WrestleMania. If there was anyone you wanted to face at WrestleMania besides a world champion, was Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. So, I mean, come on, man. Shawn Michaels was 6'1". Adam Cole is like 5'10". He's only a few inches smaller than Shawn Michaels. Please stop the hate because he's small. It's so ridiculous. Now, if you guys want to complain about seeing a small guy like an Adam Cole going up against a guy like fucking Wardlow, yes, I totally agree with you. I do not think that that is a smart move to have a small guy like Adam Cole going up against a guy like Wardlow. It's not believable. I totally agree with you on that. Adam Hangman Page, don't even start with me on that. Because Hangman Page, he had a fucking match with Lance Archer that was unbelievable, and it was on free television, and it could have been produced for the fucking pay-per-view this past March 6th, okay? So, please, I understand you might not like smaller guys, but there are a lot of guys like myself who do, because they actually can entertain you. I think you're going based off of the fact of their height. And I think the fact that you're going off of their height is because there's other talents that when you push them to the main event, it's not going to make sense. That point of view, I understand. But don't hate them because of their height, man. That is a really poor way of looking at things. I don't like that. And if that's your point of view on that because of their height, I disagree with you. If you want to come out with me with saying, hey, you know, it's not because their height, it's just that they're smaller guys. What if a guy like Wardlow comes up? Okay, I agree with you on that. That I totally agree with you on. And I've come up with this several times, not on the live stream, but I'll say it right here. I honestly think we should have a lightweight division, not call it cruiserweight. Cruiserweight seems like a demeaning word. It seems more of like a fucking like a mid-card championship. When you say lightweight world, okay, let me reiterate. The lightweight world champion, it's different. You're talking about their weight in class. That would work out even better by doing that in a heavyweight division. If you have those two different divisions, you can utilize both of them. And sometimes if you feel like one storyline is being produced better than the other, well, then guess what? You put the one that's being produced well in the main event of your pay-per-view going in. That's all they need to do. Now, if you want to say, hey, let's make a compromise, create a lightweight championship for the smaller guys so that you don't have a mixing of these two weight classes and heights together in the world championship realm, yeah, I'll go with that. But don't tell me they don't belong in the main event because they're outstanding performers. So that's all I got to say on that. No disrespect to you Black Hats. I respect you a lot, man. I just disagree with your opinion. Matt 87 Eagle says WWE's old yeller. Time to take the old dog out back and do what needs to be done. Black Hat says Edge dark gimmick doesn't suit him. It's more like recycling the Gangrel moment or something. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that gimmick is what they're going with here. Totally. Daniel. Wow. You guys went all out crazy. Okay, Adam Cole 6 feet. Thank you for the clarification. So again, Adam Cole is 6 feet tall. All right. If he's 6 feet tall, what's so bad about Adam Cole? I just don't understand. Daniel states, Matt 87 Eagle, you just reminded me of the promo of Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels before their Mania match. Yeah, that's exactly what Matthew was saying. I don't think he intended it like that, but that's how it came out. Black Hats also states, Well, I'll get that information on anti-WWE marks. That's what I got that's what I got it from. Oh, okay. All right. I mean, don't listen to the anti the ant the WWE marks or the people that you know people that want to shame people for their height and all that stuff. That's ridiculous. I don't really think that's right. Um, can we get rid of Roderick Strong? He blows. Um, yeah, I don't know why you view Roderick Strong as a bad wrestler, but I don't see him as a bad wrestler. I just don't see anything going on for him. I felt after the Undisputed Era broke up, he should have retired after that. That's just my viewpoint. Um, but let's get right into things with the Razor Ramon Scott Hall discussion. Um, I have to say Scott Hall as Razor Ramon was one of the best gimmicks he ever had. Personally, I even asked JD from New York 206 this. I asked him, would you think if Razor Ramon would have stayed in WWE, would he have became a world champion eventually? He felt if they were going to make him world champion, they would have done that before he went to WCW. But he said he doesn't think that would ever happen. So I actually disagree with him on that. I think eventually he would have became WWF champion. I think by 96 he would probably became world champion, more than likely, playing as Razor Ramon, because I think that they could have really built off of Shawn Michaels being WWF champion and have Razor Ramon being a huge villain towards Shawn Michaels and really elevate that Razor Ramon character into something more than what he was. But hey, that's just my viewpoint on that. But yeah, he would have. I think Shawn Michaels would have had a great rivalry with Razor Ramon with them in the main event scene. Just besides the whole situation with them competing over the IC championship, which literally at the end of the day, if you really look at it, they could have put them in the main event with that IC championship and probably people wouldn't have cared. So yeah. Daniel states that I did hear WWE 2K22 was really good. For the first time, 2K did something good for a change. And I think if Strong gets released, he should probably get into Ring of Honor if he still wrestles. I agree. I think Ring of Honor would be the best place for him, or Impact Wrestling. One of those two places would be fine. Anything in like a major realm of like an AEW, WWE main roster type look to him. I don't see him succeeding whatsoever. I don't think he would be able to even make it mid-card portion. But I think like a Ring of Honor, an Impact Wrestling type of level would be more suitable for him, unfortunately. I have to agree with Black Hats. I think probably the reason why he feels he blows ain't because of his wrestling ability. He just doesn't bring anything character-wise to the table. And I have to agree with Black Hats on that one. But the overall wrestling ability of Roderick Strong is very good. He reminds me of a modern-day Dean Malenko. I think Dean Malenko is far better than Roderick Strong, though. I think Dean Malenko is fucking shortchanged in WCW. I think at one point he should have became a fucking world champion in WCW. But they had too many fucking people at the top of the pillar of the fucking company. Nobody even looked at him as a world champion type of material, or even challenged for the world championship, for goodness sakes. Utterly ridiculous. Anyway, Matt87 Eagle says it's a criminal shame that Scott Hall never won a world championship. Same with Mr. Perfect. I agree. I don't know why the hell Mr. Perfect never became world champion at all, or even sniffed a world championship I don't know if he even got a world championship opportunity in WWE. I don't believe he got any shot at the WCW World Championship. I mean, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, hell, even DDP and Goldberg were fucking hovering over that belt. And not Scott Hall, fucking Sting. You had Kevin Nash even win it a few times, especially in 2000, which were like 1 week reigns. One time he won the fucking world championship from Jeff Jarrett, Kevin Nash, and he surrendered the belt over to Ric Flair on a Nitro episode in 2000. Talk about some poor fucking booking that was going on in that company back then. I don't know what the fuck anybody would surrender a championship to Ric Flair or another combatant, but that was utterly ridiculous. I couldn't believe that actually took place on an episode of WCW Nitro. But whatever, man. But yeah, going back to Razor Ramon, I really, he was a great asset to WWE, especially in the mid-card portions of things. WCW, he didn't have a gimmick. I've been watching WCW Nitro episodes because I never had an opportunity to watch it when it was taking place back in the 90s. I was more of a WWE guy anyway. When they started turning things around, that's when I went back to WWE. But WCW, when WWE was really, really terrible, like insulting my intelligence with Doink the Clown and shit like that, I watched them, but not as much as I did once they turned the tables and they turned things around within their company. When they got Steve Austin in that match with him and Bret Hart, that's when I started watching WWF every single Monday night. But back in 95, I was watching WCW Nitro. Hogan was there, Sting, Ric Flair, and Razor Ramon came in as Scott Hall later on, which I thought was absolutely crazy. I was like, who the fuck? Why the hell is he here? But there was a lot of things that took place in WCW that was really good, and I enjoyed watching them. But WWF really turned things around in 97, and it was a fucking blast to watch them. But yeah, Hall in WCW, he didn't give me any feeling of like, wow, he's fucking cool as shit. When he was Razor Ramon in WWF, I was like, this is my favorite wrestler. And I'm not kidding you guys. Razor Ramon was my favorite wrestler of all time during that time period that he was there in WWF. I liked him more than Shawn Michaels even. And Shawn Michaels, of course, I enjoyed Shawn Michaels, but when they had that fucking ladder match, I was hoping Razor Ramon was going to win that fucking belt, and he did. So thankfully that occurred. I was extremely ecstatic when that took place, so I'm really happy about that. And I just think he was shortchanged. Rowdy Piper was another one that was shortchanged. He never won the world championship, especially in WCW. Are you kidding me? Hulk Hogan lost to Rowdy Piper twice. Twice! And both times were not with a championship on the line, and he was the champion going into a pay-per-view. It was Halloween Havoc of 97, which I just recently watched, and it was Starrcade of 1996. I cannot believe that both of those matches he had were non-title matches, and then in Super Bowl of 1997, he had a championship opportunity, which he lost because of a screw job finish. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable, man. Really insane. And one portion that'll never make any sense, Rowdy Piper actually became the interim commissioner of WCW during the lead up to 1997's Halloween Havoc. And he had an opportunity to make the match between him and Hulk Hogan inside of a steel cage, and he didn't make it for the championship, which I don't understand why. That was really ridiculous. It made no sense. I guess that was because they were going to have Sting versus Hulk Hogan at Starrcade of '97, and they were just trying to prevent anyone from winning the title before the match was supposed to take place. So if that was the mindset behind that, okay. But to be perfectly honest with you, putting Rowdy Piper in that situation made no sense. All right, going back to the comments. Matt 87 Eagles says that Hall was just Hall in WCW, which wasn't a bad thing. I'm not saying it was a bad thing. It just didn't get the same kind of feeling I had when he was in WWE. That's all I'm saying. Daniel says, I wish Scott's son, Cody, did something to honor him, like a match in AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, or anywhere. It could work, but I did like how KO did a tribute last night saying, hey, yo, like he did. Yeah, I thought that was nice, too. It was out of the clear blue, too. Black Hat states, I heard rumors that Layla might get banned because she's Russian. The Russian-Ukraine war. I wonder what Tony is going to do with her if he finds out. She's banned. Really? I never heard of that. That's new to me. Matt 87 Eagle says Hall modeled the Razor character after Scarface and made it absolutely cool. Yeah, of course. All right, see you later, Black Hats. It was nice speaking to you. I'll read the comment, and you can come back and check it out later. The one that you made before that. Yeah, I know that Matt 87 Eagle. I know that 100%. I know that was based off of the Scarface character. I didn't know anything about Scarface when I was a kid, though, and I couldn't watch that kind of stuff. That movie, Scarface, is a classic, but it is not suitable for children. I mean, I did watch some fucking movies that weren't suitable for children at all. I mean, I was more into adult movies than into children movies like Disney. I mean, I had some of the movies that I watched when I was a kid. I liked Lion King. I liked I liked the Mighty Ducks. Aladdin I thought was good because of Robin Williams. I liked him. So that's why I watched that movie. But other than that, I didn't care for the fucking movie at all. And, I just was really into a lot more of the adult-like theme movies than anything else. I didn't care for kids stuff all that much, except for like the cartoons like Rugrats, Rocko's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy, the list goes on and on. The Looney Tunes, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I had a list of interests that I had as a kid that were for kids, but a lot of my interest was more into adult like movies, horror films, action flicks, stuff like that. And it was hard for my parents just to keep me away from it. I constantly would try to go ahead and view it anyway, and they were just like, all right, we're going to sit you down and let you know that this stuff ain't real. You can't go around doing this kind of shit. And I said, oh, okay. So this is all fake. And they said, yeah, that's correct. You can't go ahead and copy exactly what they're doing because you'll end up killing someone. They don't come back after you shoot them. You understand that? I said, yeah, I wouldn't do stuff like that. This is just entertainment. It's not something I would take seriously and actually go out and do and think it's okay. People that do that, I really wonder what the hell's wrong with their heads, man. I mean, keep it where it belongs. That kind of shit belongs in a movie, not in real life. Real life, we need to be nice and more considerate to each other than going around killing each other like a fucking raving lunatic. I just heard on the fucking news today, some random dude was running around throughout Washington, D.C. and New York killing homeless people with fucking guns, hand pistols. They finally fucking captured him and got him arrested. Like, what the hell? Anyway, going to Black Hat's comment before he left, he said, can you do a review on Don Callis, aka Cyrus, canceling ECW on a TNN episode? I would have to try to find that. If you know the specific date of that episode, so it'd make it easier for me to find, I'll be more than happy to go ahead and do that for you. I have no problem, doing requests for my subscribers. If I have the time to do it, absolutely. But yeah, if you can go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section, since you already left, unless you get back here before we close up. We still got a few other things to cover here that I haven't even discussed yet. So I'm going to have to get through this a little bit quicker. Anyway, Daniel says Disney used to make so many instant classics back then. I love modern movies like Frozen, but I feel like the live remakes are overshadowing the originals. I don't care for fucking Disney. I was never a Disney fan at all. I thought that was I didn't care for Disney cartoon movies very often. I wasn't a huge fan of Disney at all. Daniel also states, I wonder when Annabelle finally wrestles Lily to start the WWE doll takeover. Hey, what about Chucky? That was the very first major mainstream type doll killer. You can't forget about Chucky, dude. You're gonna talk about Annabelle but not Chucky? What the fuck, dude? But yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about a three-way, Annabelle, Chucky, and Lily, sure, let's go ahead. We'll get it all together. I'm sure Vincey boy and his good old pal Bruce, who sucks his balls, would be more than happy to produce shit like that on television for people with low intelligence. I hope that was just a joke, Daniel. Because I wouldn't want to see that shit. That would be fucking mind-numbing as hell. And I don't think I'd review it. I think I'd turn it the fuck off. But yeah, let me go into some of the podcasts that took place. And I'm also going to mention about Cody and his whole situation. It is confirmed. Cody is definitely performing in WWE. He's going to wrestle Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. When they're going to introduce this, I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to do this in a John Cena Undertaker type way from like what they did at WrestleMania 34, or they're going to make the announcement before WrestleMania so it is official and it takes place, and we at least see Cody Rhodes at a live show, or he makes a vignette video saying he's going to be seeing him at WrestleMania. I have no idea. I think it's absolutely crazy that they didn't bring Cody into this episode at all. Because honestly, Monday Night Raw was all centered around Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens having the pleasure of getting their ass kicked and buried by Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. There ain't no fucking way Kevin Owens is getting over on Steve Austin. I honestly doubt we are going to see that at all. Highly doubt it. But yeah, Cody is definitely showing up. There's been confirmation from a few reporters recently, not something that happened last week or something like. It is something that will be happening and taking place at WrestleMania 38. It is definitely confirmed. Daniel says Chucky versus Annabelle versus Lily at WrestleMania 69. Or if they were to make a remake of Halloween Havoc, as Vince McMahon would say, this is such good shit. Yeah, I would imagine Vince McMahon would find that to be good shit. Right. I think Vince McMahon's out of his mind. Speaking of Vince McMahon, since you bring him up in the comment there, Daniel, I'm going to say this. From the podcasts that I listened to two podcasts, one with Chris Jericho interviewing Keith Lee, and I also heard another one with Kurt Angle interviewing Chris Jericho and their experience together going through the WWF days in the old Attitude Era and slowly going into the Ruthless Aggression Era. Now, basically, with Keith Lee, Keith Lee was asked by Jericho how his experience was at WWE. He said, well, he didn't have any major issues with Vince McMahon. He just felt that the guy didn't really, he made things very complicated, very confusing. He didn't allow him to just be himself. He even asked him to do the Bearcat character. And he said to him, but that's just not me. And he says, you're too smart for this character, as if it was an insult to him. I don't know how he took it. He said, I don't know how I could take that. I don't know if I should take that as an insult, a compliment. He couldn't even tell what Vince McMahon was trying to tell him, which is really sad. I mean, this guy used to produce some of the greatest content in wrestling history, and now he is just running it right into the fucking ground. But I just don't get it. Like, he wanted Keith Lee to be angry a lot, like screaming the camera when he did interviews. And he said, I don't really have a problem doing that if it makes sense. See, his attitude about that is getting mad for no reason to him is illogical. You have to give him a reason, put him in a situation within a storyline to make him want to get angry. He went into his matches with Dijakovic back in the Ring of Honor days, and he said him and we were roughing each other up, so it gave me a reason to get mad and really intense. It was just part of the whole match itself, but when you get into it, it feels different. You feel like it's real, but at the same time, you know you have to pull your punches. You can't really hurt one another. You have to guide each other through the matches to make it come across well. And everything. And that is pretty much how he works. He operates under a sense that he wants to be himself without having to, unless it's a reason to get mad, he don't want to have to get mad unless it's absolutely necessary. I kind of agree with him on that. If you're a mellowed out kind of guy, make him a mellow character. This Bearcat Lee shit, that putting claws on him, I really think that was just to insult Keith Lee. I really do. I don't think originally that was the point of the Bearcat or the Bearcat Lee gimmick. I think he was supposed to be more, aggressive and angry all the time, but his mindset was just like, that doesn't fit me. It's not me at all. And it just doesn't fit who I am on a day-to-day basis unless you give me a reason to get pissed off. So he thought that was a little crazy. He also admitted that, yes, a lot of I can't believe JD knows so much about this. He actually informed his audience a lot of times that Vince McMahon does not like the way Keith Lee's wrestling style was. He handcuffed them. He told him to wrestle more like a big man. And Keith Lee believed that was the case because of the fact that they do a lot of matches. They wanted to preserve their life cycle and their shelf life. He felt that it was very important that they take care of themselves so they don't get badly injured. So that's the reason why Vince McMahon didn't want him to do it the way he normally did in the Indies. He tried out several times for WWE, once in 2008. Then I think in 2010 he tried out. I forgot the exact years. JR saw a lot of potential in him and a future world champion. He saw this guy as a main eventer. Jericho also asked Keith Lee, like, what is his main goal in AEW at this point? He says, my main goal is really to help everyone get over, including myself. I'm not a selfish guy, he said. It's not all about winning the matches. It's more about trying to get myself and everyone else I work with over. And that's the way he feels. He never mentioned one one sentence about the world championship, which I think he's underselling himself there. I think he deserves a lot more than just a fucking uh, fucking, a couple of great matches on pay-per-views. I think he deserves one run with the world championship. The guy's a good talent. I don't want him being like a Razor Ramon, Mr. Perfect, or Rowdy Piper type of situation. This guy definitely deserves a lot more than just to, perform in great matches but never get over as a world champion. Anyway, let me get to some of the comments here. Let's see here. I already mentioned about Daniel's comment about the three-way match. Matt87 Eagle says, we don't need Vince running WWE for another 31 years. God help us all. If he does that, he's living past 100 years old. And he's basically doing what Shawn Michaels imitated Hulk Hogan would be doing, is crawling around in a fucking wheelchair trying to wrestle till the day he dies, which would be utterly ridiculous. Big On says, everybody's saying WWE 2K22 is constantly crashing. I actually have the game, Big On. I'm not having that issue. My game is not crashing at all. I purchased it over the weekend. It is a solid game. The graphics are outstanding, 10 times better than 2K19 and 2K20. My only issue is the actual grappling situation. You have to grab your opponent, then press B to, I have Xbox, but if you have PlayStation, it's circle. And you have to do circle or B, depending on which game. So you got to do a grab, which is B or circle, depending on the gaming console you're using. And then you have to press B or circle again to Irish whip them to a corner or to the ropes, which I find a little bit weird. I think that is kind of awkward and strange, in my personal opinion. But hey, it is what it is. You got to take with the good, with the bad. The GM mode, I tried that. I think it's all right. I think it's actually kind of interesting. They do give you some tips on how to book the show and the flow of the show, which is kind of funny. The flow of their shows are absolutely fucking terrible. So there you go on that. Anyway, and the universe mode is actually rather fun. Not also because of the fact that you can do universe mode like you've always had the ability to do, but because of the fact that you can now do superstar mode, which makes it a lot faster to go through. I used to do all the matches on the weekly shows, and it was really aggravating. I particularly couldn't get through it. It took me way too long, and I just stopped playing it. With Superstar mode, it makes it a lot easier. You're focusing on one person that you choose, and also on top of that, you can book the shows the way you want to. All you got to do is go back to the options screen, switch out of Superstar mode, and change it back to Universe mode, and then you can book your match card the way you want it for that specific show that you're on, and then switch it back to Superstar mode and pick the original person you were with. And there you go. Same thing goes with the pay-per-views that you're a part of and everything else. My universe mode, I decided to do to get rid of the entire brand split. I put all the titles that I want to use on each show. And the only belts that are there, I actually did keep both the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles, but Raw and SmackDown tag team champions compete against each other for those specific belts that they want to fight up against. I did the same thing with the Raw and SmackDown women's championships. The only thing that I did unify was the world title that I kept as one world champion. I'm using the big gold championship, and I have the Intercontinental and the United States championships on separate shows, so anybody can compete over either one of those two belts. That's basically what I'm doing, and I'm doing a superstar mode with The Undertaker as the Biker Undertaker from 2002. That's basically what I'm doing. I may switch it up, go to another superstar somewhere later on, but that's pretty much how I'm doing my universe mode. And it's moving rather quickly. I've moved through 2 weeks in one night. So that's pretty damn good. Anyway, Daniel says the longer Vince will be running, the more he'll look like a skeleton or something that came out of the Harry Potter. Matt 87 Eagles states to Daniel, "Oh, the Crypt Keeper. Yeah, we'll have Tales from the Crypt. Oh boy, there's another horror show." Michael Masters says, "Glad to see you working hard." Thank you, Michael Masters. Big On says Eva Marie and Toxic Attraction and Aaliyah should have been in 2K22. Eva Marie, I don't care for. I really don't. Toxic Attraction, I believe that's Mandy Rose and somebody else, I believe. Yeah, I mean they're not bad on NXT. Aaliyah, yeah, I mean Aaliyah is whatever, I guess. I mean she's a very attractive woman. I have to admit that she's pretty damn good looking. And Daniel states, I think I'd probably do showcase mode and then do universe mode to make my brands for 2K22 when I do get it. But I'm hoping to find some AEW stars and stuff when I do in the future. Okay. And Matt 87 Eagle says, are you playing My Rise mode? No, I am not. And I'm not playing showcase mode all that much unless it's somebody I have to unlock that I really need for my universe mode that I want to utilize in that. Otherwise, I don't care for, my career mode or any of that BS. You're just creating a superstar, creating some bullshit character that looks like a fucking jobber anyway. They don't look like legit performers. And I just don't care for that stuff. I've never really played the career modes ever. I've thought about it, but I just don't care for it too much. Big On is asking, are you playing online matches? No, I am not. I don't have online gaming capabilities. I do have, I have internet service, but I don't have a subscription to Xbox Live Gold. So I can't exactly go ahead and do that at all. And I don't particularly. I've tried playing online against people. I don't like the way they play. They cheat. They'll run around the ring. They'll try to count me out and stuff. They don't legitimately wrestle in the matches. They just run around and don't give a fuck. Daniel says, if I do superstar mode, I probably do Braun Breaker as a custom superstar since I could see him have potential. Yeah, speaking of his potential, the Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard and the higher-ups within WWE want Braun Breaker to smile more. I mean, come on. They want Braun Breaker to smile more. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I don't really watch NXT at all. I don't care for NXT. I mean, they're fucking utilizing The Miz and Dolph Ziggler from the main roster into the NXT realm so that they can hopefully get ratings. They took the fucking title off of a young upcoming star to give it to a guy who's been wrestling for a very long time, can't get a break in the main roster, but on a fucking underground developmental system type brand, he's getting a world championship. Someone please tell me the logic behind this fucking moron, because I can't figure it out. All right? I can't. They're telling him he needs to smile more. I heard a report of that a couple of days ago. Give me a fucking break, man. That's ridiculous. Braun Breaker needs to smile. Why the hell does he need to smile more? What the fuck does he need to smile more? He's a fucking large dude. He's everything that people look for in a performer. Enough with the smiling. Can we get some seriousness on this show? WWE provides no seriousness. It's smiling. Seth Rollins has been having good matches. I'm not denying that. He is funny with his gimmicks sometimes. But most of the time, his gimmick is fucking aggravating and annoying. Sometimes I wish he would just shut the fuck up and stop laughing. What's there to be laughing about, you dumbass? Shit, I like it when he's serious. And a lot of other superstars need to be more serious. Matt Riddle needs to get that switch flipped. He needs to be more serious. He's fucking annoying. I cannot wait when Randy Orton turns on him. It's going to be great. But the unfortunate thing is, he didn't turn on him leading up to WrestleMania. So that we can get these two to wrestle each other at WrestleMania one-on-one. Unbelievable shit. Oh, man. Fucking unbelievable garbage. Matt 87. Oh, I'm sorry. Daniel states that, like the late Owen Hart said, enough is enough. It's time for a change. That's very true, Daniel. There is time for a change within this company, or please sell it the fuck off and give it to somebody who cares, or somebody who will just put it to its death and bury it already and say goodbye. It's fucking ridiculous. Matt 87 Eagles states, seriously, what's Vince and Bruce's attraction to have their wrestlers to be smiling underwear models? To be the wrestlers being smiling underwear models. I have no idea, Matthew. I really don't. I really don't know what the fuck their deal is. But speaking of back in the day when we actually enjoyed it, Vince McMahon was still doing some off-the-wall stuff. Not as bad as he does it now, but he was doing some off-the-wall shit. Here's an example. I was listening to the podcast with Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho. Jericho was supposed to have that Vengeance pay-per-view event back in 2001. They were having a Unification World Championship match to crown the first ever undisputed champion. And Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho were a part of that tournament. It was a 4-man tournament. Rock was facing Chris Jericho in one match. Stone Cold was facing Kurt Angle in another match. The original plans was to have Kurt Angle win both championships. Get this. He was supposed to win both championships. He was notified about this 3 weeks in advance before the actual pay-per-view was supposed to take place. And get this. Jericho goes ahead 3 hours before the pay-per-view is supposed to start. Get this shit. 3 hours before the pay-per-view starts, Vince McMahon calls him in and says, Jericho, we're going to go with you instead. And Vince also told Kurt Angle initially that he's going to go with Chris Jericho. Actually, a few weeks, about a week or two before the event was supposed to take place. And Jericho had no idea this was going to happen at all. This was a couple of weeks he made this decision. Jericho's going to be the undisputed champion. He makes this decision to tell Jericho 3 hours before the event was supposed to even start. 3 hours before the event's supposed to even take place. He pulls him in his office. He tells him, hey, look, we're going to go with you to win the Undisputed Championship. And that's pretty much that, man. We like your momentum. Your momentum's been good. We're going to roll with you for right now, see how things go. If it goes, it continues to get better, we're going to stick with you until WrestleMania, which they did anyway. And he wins the championship. His family wasn't even at the event. His family were pissed off at him because every other wrestler became a first-time world champion, had their family there. He said, I got the information 3 hours before the event was supposed to take place. What do you want me to do? I'm like, holy shit. Vince McMahon even back then was doing stupid shit like this. And he even mentioned him and Kevin Owens were supposed to, in 2017, going into the fucking WrestleMania 33, they were supposed to be the main event of WrestleMania 33. Get this, guys. Kevin Owens was supposed to face Chris Jericho as the Universal Champion at WrestleMania 33. They were supposed to be the main event, and Chris Jericho was going to win the Universal Championship, but didn't. Instead, they went with Goldberg and fucking Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. Jericho was completely dumbfounded by it. He had no idea why Vince decided to go with them instead of Kevin Owens and himself. He thought that those two had the better story going in. They would have had a longer match also. And thinking back on it, Roman Reigns and Undertaker was the main event of WrestleMania 33. No championship on the line. Their match was terrible. Even Undertaker himself looked back at that match and said it was fucking terrible. He thought it was one of the worst matches he ever had at WrestleMania in his entire career. So he thought it was a fucking joke that he even had that match with Roman Reigns. And they were the main event of WrestleMania 33. That's a terrible last impression you want to give to your audience. I think Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho would have lit it up. They would have done a great job in the main event. And Jericho at that point during WrestleMania 33 made the decision that he didn't want to be part of WWE anymore because what Vince McMahon did. He said, all right, so you're not going to have us compete over the Universal Championship. You decide to put us just in a singles match, which he said I'm totally cool with. But then you want to put us as a second match on the card. He says that's one of the hardest things to do. That's putting you want to put a mid-card wrestler in that situation. Not a guy like myself and Kevin Owens, who's a former Universal Champion at that point in time. He felt like either put us at the end of the show or put us at the beginning, but not the second match after the first match, after the opener. He thought that was ridiculous, and he thought it was also a disrespect and a slap in the face to him. And he just didn't want to work for Vince anymore at that point. That's when he made that decision. He went into New Japan Wrestling, and here we are now with him in AEW. So that's pretty much that. He also talks about how he enjoys AEW. He enjoys the fact there's a lot more freedom and the capability of being able to do whatever you want to do. Everyone's part of the company. Even the fans are part of the company. And it's true. Tony Khan looks for our opinions. He wants to hear what we have to say. He values what we think. Now, granted, he's not going to agree with everything we say. Of course, he's running a multi-million-dollar company, and he has to be very careful with his decisions, but he takes into account with everyone's opinions. And that is something Vince McMahon does not do, which he lied on Pat McAfee's show, saying that he does, which is utterly ridiculous. But whatever, man. Anyway, Matt, I already stated that one about Bruce Pritchard and Vince. Daniel says, I feel like things haven't been the same since the Chris Benoit incident in 2007, but I feel like Vince had no heart when he continued the show that Owen died in ignorance. Well, there was an explanation of that because I believe in The Rock's biography, he brings that up. I believe it was The Rock's biography or was something else. I do remember that The Rock stated something either in a book I read from his biography or from a documentary video that they do. And they brought that up, and The Rock didn't feel comfortable. Steve Austin didn't feel comfortable. And Vince McMahon, he didn't feel comfortable either. They actually bring him into the situation. He felt that they needed to continue the show, not because of a lack of respect for Owen Hart, but because of the fact that the fans came and they paid for a show. And he felt he was obligated to give them that show because they paid their hard-earned money to come and view the entire pay-per-view, and he didn't want to send them home unhappy. Now, granted, maybe he didn't know the severity of the situation. Maybe he thought he had a chance to live. I don't think that – I'm not trying to defend Vince McMahon because I'm the last person that likes Vince McMahon, but There's some things about him I do respect, but there are other things I question a lot, especially his rational thinking and logic. It's absolutely out there and fucking ridiculous. But he he was caring more about the fans than anything else, which I give him a lot of credit for. But at the end of the day, you have to also think, what if this guy died? Even if you didn't know the severity of the situation, if you thought maybe it was just an incident, just an accident, you rush him to a hospital, he'll be okay, type of situation, because they didn't say he was really dead until they brought him to the hospital and then he was dead. But there was a lot of things he did. If you watch the Dark Side of the Ring about that, I really didn't understand why Vince McMahon did what he did. He wanted to make him come down from the rafters faster than Sting. That was his main focal point. Trying to get a human being to fly down the rafters faster than Sting from WCW. Why? What's so important about that? He wants to make sure he can outdo WCW in the length of time it takes from one person coming from the rafters down to the floor? It makes no fucking sense. That's definitely questionable about Vince McMahon that I don't like. And when I saw that video, that documentary from Dark Side of the Ring, it made me really question about what he did. I really wonder why the hell he would take a risk like that with a human being's life. And I hope he lives with that and really regrets what he did, because what he did was absolutely retarded and a waste of a human being's life. Daniel says, so it's probably just an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen, because I'm so confused. Yeah, it was an accident, Daniel. It wasn't done intentionally. If it was done intentionally and they proved that he did that deliberately to kill Owen Hart, that's fucking murder. He'd be arrested and thrown in jail. But his Owen Hart's wife did not believe that that was the case. She didn't believe he intentionally tried to kill him, but she felt like he took bad preparation for this stunt and cost her husband his life by accident, which she wanted some justice for, because technically that's still a crime. The bottom line is, because he was part of a show and it wasn't, physically doing it to him, they didn't really have the proper, I guess they didn't see there was proper evidence to technically hold Vince McMahon totally responsible for the death of Owen Hart. They didn't slap any cuffs on him or nothing. So that's basically the situation with that. If you go on Dark Side of the Ring, if you can find it on Hulu or something like that, or look it up on YouTube, you'll find a documentary video that talks all about that, and you'll be really, really disgusted by Vince McMahon's decision-making on what he did in that situation. It was downright fucking messed up. I don't know what he was thinking in that situation, but to try to outdo Sting with a fucking rafter drop from the rafters down to the floor, I just don't get that. That's just nuts. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for the show. We've went over an hour and 10 minutes here. So I'm going to cut this over and done with. We are done here. So at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you guys very much for watching. Oh, one other thing. Matt87 Eagle says, can't wait to see AEW's tribute to Owen Hart with their tournament. Yeah, I wonder who's going to win that. I really do. And Daniel says, alrighty, liked, pal. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Anyway, guys, at this time, thank you very much for watching. Again, hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed to the channel, of course. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. And I thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.